This week I learned about the most marvelous human instrument, the human body. The human body is everything to us. It is where your thoughts, your worries, your daydreams live. It's an incredibly complex organ that we're going to be exploring today. Whoops. And to start that all off, we're going to be looking at the levels of organizations within the human body. And if you've ever wondered, okay, but how does it all actually fit together? This is how. Right at the bottom level, we have chemicals. And chemicals generally in the human body are macrochemicals in three different classes. Nucleic acids, as in shown in this picture, proteins, and carbohydrates. These complex molecules fit together to produce organelles. And organelles are specialized subunits which are basically clusters of macromolecules doing some sort of task. The cell is a collection of these different organelles. There's the cell wall, or the mitochondria, which you might have heard of is the powerhouse of the cell. And all of these organelles fit together into cells. So we've arrived here. Now, tissues, at least in the human body, there's 4 different types, and tissues are just organized cells. That's really it. And you have 4 different types of organization of cells. There's the connective tissue, the muscle tissue, the nervous tissue, what you actually use for your nerves, and your epithelial tissue, which is sort of blood vessel lining and that sort of thing. Now, adding lots and lots of tissues together, you get organs, like your pumper or your entire skin. Skin is a big one. And once you strap those organs together, you have an organism. And in this case, we are made out of 11 different organs. Humans are. Sort of more of a side note about metabolism. Have you ever heard some sort of pretentious person say, I mean, they don't really have to be pretentious, but that they have an extremely great metabolism? They're most likely using that word wrong. The 12 characteristics constituting metabolisms are really the definitions of life. It's how fast you can grow, what nutrients you can absorb. It's really all of it. More of an interesting side fact. Now, humans have physiological needs, which are basically physical needs. And you can class these into 3 different categories. Water is incredibly important as a soluble, because it dissolves a lot of things, which allows it to be the entire transportation pipeline of the entire body, as well as it acts as a shock absorber. Water is a really marvelous thing, and there's reasons why you're made of 70% of it. Food, and interestingly enough, food isn't just, you don't just need food, you also need oxygen to process that food, and you need heat to keep your cells in the right sort of, in the ability to create the food. And you need pressure to sort of move all of this through your body. But now we come to the truly interesting part of the human body. There is, interestingly enough, I mean, this shows 12 organ systems, but there's 11 of them. There's male and female reproductive systems, but, you're only going to have one. And these organ systems are generally slotted into 4 different categories. There is control, which manages your entire body. You have nutrients and gases. So how do you get food, basically? There's structure and support, and there's reproductive. And you have two different organs within the control category. That's the endocrine system and the nervous system. The endocrine system is what you would have heard of is the hormone system. It regulates temperature, metabolism, development, so like how you grow, reproduction, and it plays a big part in sort of keeping your body a stable temperature and just maintaining the status quo. The other control system within your body is the nervous system. And the nervous system has two main components. There is the nerves that run throughout your body, and there's the brain, there's the central nervous system. So that was the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system, which is the brain and the spine, which does a lot of the executive functions, while the peripheral nervous system is either in a sensory position or in a motor position where it controls how you move. Now, the nutrients and gases have the most systems within it. There's the cardiovascular system, so your heart and all your veins and your arteries. And it transports all throughout your body nutrients, wastes, hormones, and gases. It's the railroad of the human body. Then you have the digestive system, and this plays the part of absorbing the nutrients that will go into the blood. It also removes waste because you can poop. And it plays a big part in balancing sort of what chemicals you get out of life. Is the digestive system plays a big role. Then you have the respiratory system, and this allows this basically produces the gas for the cardiovascular system to transport. And then you have the urinary system, which, fluid levels, and you, again, need to dispose of waste. And interestingly, the urinary system, so while the other waste disposal was in the digestive system, so through poop, the urinary system actively filters your blood. Yeah. Then you have the lymphomatic, which has the big, you might have heard of like swollen lymph nodes, which generally coincides with some sort of infection or disease or pathogen that you're fighting off. But the reason why it's in nutrients and gases is because those pathogens are generally introduced through your nutrients and gases. All right. Now we come to the last two sections, and they're important. Structure and support is made up of three things. It's your skin, your muscular system, and your skeletal system. And your skin is extremely important in keeping fluid in, infection out, and injury low. Also, it makes for an excellent way to regulate heat. You have the muscular system, and here radiates heat. That's not how you spell radiates, but that's fine. The muscular system has three components, which is movement. You can move through it. It allows you to stand upright, which is lovely, and it radiates heat. So when you're very cold, your muscles will activate to generate heat. And lastly, the skeletal system, which you should be familiar with. It produces your blood and is all of your bones. And now we get to the sort of the last organ, which is the reproductive system. And I've made a little funny joke here. Sex baby. All right. So that was what I sort of learned about this week. I really wanted to sort of explore this more in the coming weeks because, for instance, meditation messes with your sympathetic and sympathetic automatic nervous system, and there's lots of interesting interactions that you can cause very consciously in your life to improve your well-being and to sort of help these different organ systems out to do the best they can. Thank you very much for watching. Have a sick day.